The Fargone Podcast, presented by This Is Coffee. Premium instant coffee meant to be enjoyed outside. Get yours at thisiscoffee.ca.
Yes.
Well, boys, we're
And
back.
the boys are back in town for one more day. I love it.
The boys are back, and Reece is looking real kitted and ready to freaking go right now.
My
That
God.
fusion
It's
camo's
like
popping.
Reece looks like a fucking advertisement for Meat Eater right out the gate here.
Well, it's Halloween. I'm dressed up as Steve Ranella today.
Yeah. You're like a jacked Cal. Like I can't remember his last name, but you're like an athletic Cal. I think that's
Yeah.
I think Callahan is his last name, dude. I think he just goes by his last name.
By Cal? Yeah.
You know what? I think you're right. It's Callahan.
I think it's Ryan Callahan, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, never met the guy, but I think that's his name.
Yeah, 100%. Nice.
Frick,
boys.
boys.
I like
How's
it.
it going?
Not bad, man. Just back to the swing of things in the clinic and trying to piece together maybe a few weekends out hunting for mule deer.
Sweet.
Maybe get some cams up this weekend, and then head out and do a couple of pokes here from now till the end of it. Trying to find, not just looking for meat in the freezer. Passed on a couple good bucks last year that some of my friends are like, "You're an idiot," but you'll never kill a 180 if you kill 150s. So it's the way she goes.
That's very true, man. Get it tattooed already.
Not a chance. Not a chance. I don't have a 180 yet, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
And I may never. So it might be a terrible tattoo, actually.
Exactly. But it's motivation, man. Every time you see that 150 pop on out, you're just going to look at your forearm and be like,
every
you're
mule
never going
deer,
to get a 180 unless you get a one.
bro, every mule deer I have in my house is motivation. They all kind of suck.
Exactly. There you go. You got to switch over to the blacktail scene, man, and then everything feels like a victory.
Yeah.
Anything over 3 points, you're like, oh my gosh, it's a stonker. It's really freaking wide. Love blacktail hunting.
Yes, I love it, man. I love it.
So
Nice.
good. And
Reece,
Reece, it
heading out
looks
for
like
the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, heading out for the weekend. We've got Spike Fork Bull opening kind of around the house here. So I'm going to stuff myself up into one of those big burns and stay for the weekend there. Looks like we got some big snow coming in tomorrow. So we'll see what tomorrow's like for the opener, but Sunday looks pretty good. So yeah,
Looking for tracks. That's perfect. Hey.
trying to get another moose, and then also 4 point. I'll be switching over to 4 points, but last little good kick here and see if we can get some meat in the freezer. We got a bunch of guys hunting this zone and coming from different zones or different areas to try to see if we can be in the right place at the right time. But no,
Perfect.
We've been out like checking cams and stuff like that. We're starting to see the bucks are moving a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, like on Jesse's trail cams, he's that big whitetail he's been targeting now. He's seeing them every single day, but still just not.
Sick.
They're not coming out of. They're still nocturnal for now.
Yeah.
But it's coming close. Like any day now, he's gonna start coming out. So he's been sitting in the stand for a couple days,
Nice.
mornings and evenings and stuff. But
Sweet.
yeah, and we've been seeing some muleys. Dad got a nice 4 point the other day.
Nice.
But still haven't found that real big guy that Jesse has on camera from this summer.
Yep. And that's the game. That's the game. Do you do you happen to do you do any maybe drop the odd apple here and there as you're out in front of your cams at all? Just accidentally, of course, but do you do any cracked corn or anything?
Yeah, like we've got a lot of apples out here at the house.
Yeah.
And so we just go and we collect them because they're either going to eat them out there or they're eating them here. And we got really bad problems for bears in the fall. So we try to clean up the apples and send them out there. And that's kind of how Dad got that first whitetail this year. It was opening day of bow season. We had been rolling apples in there for about a week, and walked right in the morning and got himself a nice whitetail. So that was sweet.
Deadly.
Nice.
But for now, like the apples are pretty much done. We've got some like sweet feed out there right now.
Nice.
Seeing if we can kind of have a little bit more, just kind of drawing them in a little bit more. See if we can kind of break up their rhythm. But Yeah, we'll see what happens. Jesse climbed into the stand the other day, and there was a 2-point whitetail just sitting on the feed, like as he walked in, and he went up the stand, and then it just kept staying there. So
he's like, I'm eating, man. Why the frick would I move?
Yeah. The good ones never do that. Hey, it's just brutal.
Yeah, it's just pretty much you just hope that they're gonna follow some doe. It's gonna be on the track to go and stop at that feed, and then they roll in. But just kind of a matter of time. Hopefully Jesse can get on that buck, and we'll have some pictures to show the crew here. But
that'd be sweet.
Yeah, no, it's pretty sweet. But Nolan, do you want to give us some details on the float hunt?
Yes.
Well, the float hunt, man. Yeah, I haven't even divulged into that hunt yet.
I was thinking about that. Our minds must have melded there, Reece, because I was like, I don't want to say a thing this podcast. I just want to ask questions. How long you were gone for? BC? Was it in BC or was it Yukon? I can't remember. I want to hear about it, Nolan.
Well,
I want to hear about
we'll
it.
get into it. Well, the float hunt was it was a lot.
Your first float hunt?
It was our first float hunt, yeah.
Yes.
And it was something
as a group? Or like
as a group.
Yeah,
like literally, I think the only person, Jordan Kowalczyk, was on the trip, and he's the only guy and he's the only dude that's ever been on a float before.
Yeah.
But all of us too, and kind of where I was telling Reece planning, man, I saw this one like fly fishing film up in Spatsizi, and we did not hunt Spatsizi, but that's like the first idea where the floats started like jumping into my mind of like, oh, you can get in all these remote zones and all this stuff. And obviously Spatsizi is its own beast where there's a lot of pressure and a lot of different things like that in regards to those rivers. So we were like, man, what if we tried to find the most remote river or whatever, where we just feel like the goal was, how do we get into a place where you can't take jet boats, where you have to hike like those rafts a ways in so that you're never going to see anyone else, which obviously we didn't see anyone else, which we were stoked on. And third of all, like, hey, we're like, you're not really going to get a float plane or anything like that too. So that was the goal. So we're kind of scouring all of BC, trying to find like the river. And we felt like we found it, man. And it was one of those classic trips where you come in with like plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, plan F. And you go out of that trip and you go, well, we executed plan F. So pretty freaking happy that we had all those plans coming into that trip. So
nice.
We had 4 hunters and 2 filmers. So
6 guys.
It was 6 guys. So kind of our program, it was a big crew, man, a big crew. And kind of what happened originally was an elk hunt. And then Justin Hayden or Grizz ended up getting an LEH moose draw kind of in that same zone. So we were like, okay, so what we ended up doing was bumping the trip back like a week or two to obviously kind of accommodate the moose draw, which in retrospect, I feel like was maybe not the best move. But hey, you live and you freaking learn, right? So
why do you say that? Just because like you feel like the elk activity had died down a little bit, or?
Well, it was just more like, so literally the last 5-6 days of the trip, we were getting into bull elk every single day, every day. But we just couldn't, and we were all archery and the whole thing, and we just could not pull these freaking guys in. We would get into like one zone, they would be howling, doing the whole freaking thing, and we would get right on into them, probably call it like 60-ish yards, but just like obviously brush or whatever, like all of this different stuff, and then we'd bugle, and then they'd bugle the whole way away from us. And then they'd go all the way up the mountain, and we'd jump on up the mountain. We'd like wait for them to bed, get right into their freaking kitchen, but once again, too tight, and just sound off right on them. And then they would sound off, and then sound off the whole way away from us. And then we'd get over to the next ridge line, and then they would sound off, and we'd start cow calling, and they would be ripping bugles the whole way down the hillside of the mountain and all the way up the next one, and then right on over and do that. So it was one of those programs where we're just kind of like, we felt like we were right in between. Like, hey, if we were there a week or two earlier on the elk side of things, it would have like really helped us out just to get those bulls to turn. Like the bulls that like I said, we were getting into them like in plan F for sure, plan A, B, and C were a different story.
Yeah.
But that's why you have those different ones. But
Yeah.
plan F, we were getting into them every day, just couldn't get those freaking buggers to turn. And the only time we'd really see them is when they were rounding up their cows and being like, okay, let's get the cows out of here. And then you'd get like a quick glimpse. But once again, you're with the bow, right? So it's not like you're it's a little harder to just kind of wail and kind of try to make something like that happen, right? But but it was a great trip, man. Like honestly, so it was like 2.5 or a little over 2 weeks, which was a blast, man. And it was
how far were you hiking the rafts in before you started floating?
I think we were around like 7-8K, like hiking in.
Were you guys like pack rafts then?
Pack rafts, yeah. So our bags loading in, I think we're like, it depends on the dude, but like between 120 to 140 pounds kind of hiking in with all the food for the couple weeks. And then obviously the pack rafts themselves, and we're super stoked for Stakeen sending some rafts over for us to use on that one. Nice. Which was our first experience with them, and they were sweet, man. So I was able to kind of get those guys on out. And yeah, dude, so we hiked into the river. And that was a mission in itself, as you guys know, like just freaking bashing and hiking over crap and doing the whole thing. And guys are slipping and sliding and just having a hoot at the same time. But the moose activity pretty much from the start was really good. Like we literally got right into like where we kind of set up camp before we had hiked on in, and got into a bull like within 20 minutes of the trip type of thing. And then just a young gun for sure. Nothing, not a shooter, but still signs in there, right? So ended up making it into the river, man. And it was, I tell you, the feelings when we saw that river was insane. We were like, this just feels so good. Our emotions are on another level right now. All right, boys, 2 weeks. Let's float this river. We just laid eyes on it, just hiked in, whatever, into this thing. All the backs are a little touch sore. Let's get floating, right? And that excitement lasted for about 100 meters.
Yes.
Until the old first portage. And we go, okay.
Start dragging everything.
And then we started dragging.
You know what, man? Like, I'm not going to say I'm a float expert by any stretch of the imagination. Done it a little bit. Every time. It just is. Every time you're like, and every time you float, you also bring like a little bit extra stuff because you're like, like when you need waders. Exactly. So you're like in waders, and you got.
Well, I didn't bring waders.
Boots. You didn't.
That was another thing. So,
man,
Riley,
Kowalchuk, fuck you guys over. Everyone needs waders. Everyone.
Well, we all chatted about it, and then we're all like, we're freaking men, dude. Like, we're not dealing with this crap. So I'm like, screw the waders. I'm bringing some Crocs out. Riley McKinnon was he was the guy filming it, and he was the only dude that was smart enough to bring waders. So everyone else, and we're like, screw this, man. So anyways, like I said, excitement, next level, 100 meters in. Okay, this is what we're dealing with a little bit. And then the other thing is that, all those Stakeen rafts, they're all self-bailing, right?
Yeah, baby. So you get wet.
Oh, dude. So we tape the crap out of them, right? Just to be like, okay, we're going to be floating on top. First portage, all that tape's gone. So now you're sitting there soaked doing the whole freaking thing.
Dude,
and
this is the same as every first-timer fucking pack raft story. The amount of guys are like, do you guys why is there so much water in the bottom of this pack raft? Well, they're self-bailing. Don't you have waders or a dry suit? No, I have jeans. You're like, well, it's gonna be a wet day.
Well, that was the thing, man. Like I said, the waders would have been a play. So wait, it gets better, Matt. It gets better. So we're just figuring things out, man. And this was the whole point of the trip too, was we're like, first of all, we want to get into a zone that only idiots would get into because like I said, we don't want to see anyone else. And we like to consider ourselves like educated idiots in some way, shape or form. Right. So we're like, okay, we're going to get a ways back there, do whatever. Right. which like I said was a huge success. But I think also the reasons too, and we're learning, like I said, now we have a lot more knowledge. But obviously we were like, oh, the bendy rivers are legit because they do all of that. Little to think that the freaking beavers, dude, the beavers are another level, man. And I tell you, we were in freaking beaver heaven. Like, all I'm saying, dude, the beavers were plentiful. They were procreating like no other. They had no predators here because, dude, we must have been about 50, 60 beaver dams in. And, dude, these guys were freaking educated. I'm talking like BCIT graduates in like building these freaking dams. And I'm like, bro, you guys got it figured out, man. And you know, the best part is I think that they kind of like stack them a little bit too. So like they start off right upriver and they're like, yeah, like maybe we'll get a little bit of a beaver dam and maybe this is my first time, you know? And then by like beaver dam 60, they got that crap figured out. They got that crap freaking figured out. Oh, yeah.
Shift work, boys.
These guys ain't no city workers, to say the least, man. They got her freaking dialed. So, anyways, that was the whole other thing, was the old beaver dams, which is a blast. So, but anyways, man, so that was kind of like day one, was a lot of freaking portaging, and a lot of like.
Let me just ask, like, at that moment, because it's good when you're with that many guys. The benefit is, and you're like the most positive guy I've ever met, but when you're with that many guys, it's usually like it can be funny. Yeah. And you're like, this sucks. And three guys are having a bit of a shit fit. And they're like, what are we doing? Like, we didn't bring waders. Like, I'm soaking wet. There's beaver dams every 60 feet. And like, two other guys are like joking around and doing some bullshit. It brings up the mood that way, you know, like, and if you're like solo or like with two people on like, and it's just going all bad, it's like, oh man, it's so tough to like stay positive, especially 100 meters into a 2-week trip.
100%, dude.
Oh, dude.
After you just hike 7K with a 130-pound bag to get into this spot, and then you get the 100 meters, and you're like, oh yeah, my back's gonna get a break here. Well, let's freaking portage this thing a little bit here, and let's have to reapply some tape because we didn't bring waders to our self-bailing rafts. So, like I said, that was about the first day where we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna cover like 20K, bro. And it was about like 1.3K floating.
Yes, man. Yes.
So that was a blast. And then we kind of get into a zone, and obviously we're like, hey, like let's go and I think this is like, call it night 2 now. And obviously we're hiking in, and I think the second day was a bit of a write-off in regards to a lot of portaging once again and really figuring our life out here. So and then we kind of get into some good zones, call it in end of day 2 and kind of where we're setting up camp and all this stuff, right? And I didn't have an elk or a moose tag. So it was just Justin and Hayden who had the moose. And then myself had an elk tag. So, and kind of what we did with the group of that many guys, we were like, okay, we're going to split up in groups of 2 with 1 filmer each. So hiking in 2 separate zones with like, call it like 3 people, kind of a group, right? So we're split up kind of day 1, and I am like, okay, I'm out elk hunting, doing my thing, trying to find, but I get into some like really heavy moose sign, like kind of right off the bat, and I'm sniffing it, and I'm right on the freaking tracks, and I'm like, man, this is so freaking moosey, like there's got to be something here, fresh crap everywhere, and like I said, you're smelling the piss, and it's like one of those where I'm like, if they weren't there, I would have just called, just because, like, but at the same time, I don't want to be a chump because my buddies on the ridgeline over are obviously moose hunting, right? So we do that. Nothing for elk sign, like old elk sign, like a week or 2 later. So we're like, whatever. We go back down to camp, and we come up with the idea. Okay, we are going to pack up our rafts, and because obviously we're not floating much, so let's hike like a couple K to our next spot in the morning. And then we'll set up rafts there where we have a little bit more of a straight stretch of river where we shouldn't be in such shallow water and be able to get a good old floating, kind of what we signed up for. So we're like, let's go and do it. Right. So we hike out, get to our zone. And we're like pretty much where I hunted the night before was right above where we were setting up our rafts. So I'm sitting there, and the guys from Stikine were super dialed, and they sent like one of those little pumps, those electric pumps. So I'm sitting there blowing up my raft, pumping it up, doing the whole thing. And then all of a sudden we just hear, oh, and we're like, oh, okay. There's something there. And obviously Justin and Hayden, and we're like playing in our heads, right? We're just having a blast doing whatever, pumping up our rafts, eating some food. And we're like, did we all hear that? No, we didn't hear that. So then we keep like doing our thing, pumping. Then we hear her again. And long story short, and then we hear a cow going off, and we're like, oh, frick, boys. Like there's a bull right on over there. So what we do, we obviously sit up on the other side of the river, do the whole thing. And now we're like, our groups of two is now one big group of like 5 or 6 guys doing just in a big blob, trying to like stay hidden, doing the whole thing. But pretty much our only choice was to sound like one real horny cow. So that's exactly what we did. And Justin went all off on him. And maybe about like 20, 30 minutes later, this bull comes popping on, head on, looking over, left, right. Okay, I think we're good. And at this point, dude, a freaking tree crashes right behind us, which we're like, is this a second bull, or is this just like the best thing ever? Or is that freaking beaver trying to build another dam? So
true, yeah.
Exactly. So, but it actually like obviously pulled into our favor, because now this bull's like, oh, dude, there's something else there. So he comes out, walking right on into the riverbed, comes on out, keeps looking, goes down, takes a nice little sip. And at that point, Justin obviously knocked an arrow, pulled the thing back, and obviously Bob's your freaking uncle. So
nice.
That guy hit the dirt. We're super stoked on that. And we cleaned him up, got him out there, and then we go, well, boys, now we got to portage a moose out of this thing. So
now you're so happy you have 6 guys.
I know.
Because it just, otherwise it's exciting.
It's a lot. Yeah, exactly. So, man, we pulled that thing out of there, quartered them up, obviously did the whole 9s, left the bones in, which we were really stoked on. And long story short, went back to the river and kept going. And maybe like day 3 or 4, man, we just we're starting to get into some better water, which was really awesome.
Nice.
And like starting to actually get like proper flows. And we kind of expected that, because it was super bendy and stuff at the beginning. And we kind of expected the first 3-4 days of the trip was going to be all moose. And that was our game plan. It was like, let's get a moose down early, fill that moose tag, and then completely switch stuff on over to elk. And we're going to be getting into the better elk zone. So we obviously got on into it. But dude, there was just no elk sign where we were at close to the river, and which was a bit of a bummer, because like I said, we were getting into really freaking good floats, like floating those like big kilometer floats that we were hoping for. We were getting into them. But long story short, we just weren't having any elk sign there, right? So ended up, Jordan was actually on another hunt at this point, and he was going to meet up with us at this kind of like midway point. So we sent over the old inReach message and was like, hey man, like I think we got to pull the plug. Let's go try like zone B type of thing. So long story short, he grabbed his quadded on in. We hiked everything out, which was a time and a half, not too long. I think it was only like 4.5K, but lots of gear and stuff like that. So got that on a couple trips, loaded on up over to Jordan, and went over to Plan B. And Plan B didn't really turn up much elk signs. Then we went over to Plan C, and same thing. And now we're trying out new zones that used to be, or obviously Plan B and Plan C were zones that we've tried before. And we're like, well, nothing here. So Plan D, here we go. And Plan D, same thing. And then Plan E actually got into one bull. It was a really small zone though. Ended up getting kind of into calling in one. And that was the one, like I said, he was with, super quiet, man, super freaking quiet. And he had, I think, like probably 7 or 8 cows with them, and like a couple young bulls and things like that. And the only time we were able to get into a zone with them, we were all set up like 2 or 3 times on and thought we were going to make this happen, right? And anytime we got got eyesights on him, it was just him rounding up his cows and being like, let's get the frick out of here.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the deal with that one. And then pulled the plug on that zone just because it was so small, and we're like, the odds of like a couple more bulls hanging out in here, and obviously that one is not very interested. Let's go to kind of, like I said, plan F. And plan F was good, man. It was a new zone for all of us. And dude, a lot more, like, honestly, like, you would think we weren't in the Kootenays, but you'd think that we were up in the Kootenays, like, kind of hunting, which was really interesting, kind of in those zones. But dude, it was a blast, man. And we were, like I said, we were getting into bulls every single day, but just couldn't freaking make her happen.
Was
And
Jordan
also,
with you
dude,
guys?
yeah, Jordan was with us. Jordan, like I said, grabbed us kind of on that day whenever we pulled the plug from the float. And then we were with Jordan for the whole rest of the trip. So
yeah, nice.
Dude, and that guy's just such a gem, man. It was my first time hunting with him.
Yeah, I've never hunted with him. I've just chatted with him, and I mean, he's a hell of a hunter.
Dude, he's so freaking knowledgeable, man. Like, it was sweet. Like, kind of in our groups, I just hunted with him every day. It was just me and him, and he was really trying to get me on a bull. And Justin and Hayden were doing their own things too. And like I said, man, I learned so much from this dude. Just all the different situations, all of this different stuff was just a freaking it was a blast, man. Like, I think, and that's the stuff.
It's always interesting, right? When you're like, yeah, we didn't bit of tag soup for me, but I also came away of it like probably like with 5 years of elk hunting experience just from hanging out with a guy who's done it for a long time and done it pretty well. It's I know it's like a bit of a cliche because people are like, learn tons this time, you know, didn't fill a tag sheep on this time, but learn a lot. Like, I think with hunting, I mean, interactions are so. Sheep hunting, I don't think so. You just keep hiking and find better zones and you get lucky or whatever, right? But elk hunting, man, there's so much interaction to it. Like, it's such a big deal just to get like reps and be with a guy who's done it a lot, right?
Exactly. Yeah, man, it was a blast, dude. And we were putting the miles on, like, we were like 20-30K a day type of thing, just trying to obviously locate them and do the whole thing. And like I said, man, exactly kind of to your point too. We also, like, a big thing that I think has been a constant in our last couple of years of hunting, especially hunting with Justin a lot, is like, hey, if the sign's not here, why are we burning days in a zone that's not right? It's like, let's pick up, like, there's no, I feel like a lot of people, and a lot of times, and even like before I got more into the hunting world, right? You're just like, I got my one zone. I'm going to just like beat it until something shows up. And you think, like, 2-week trip, like, yeah, you should just beat one zone. Something will maybe show up, but it's like, if there's no sign there, why wouldn't we pick up and go, right? And it's like,
you're
like
hoping.
I said,
especially for elk too. Like,
exactly,
not hunting mule deer. The elk are where the elk are. Like,
exactly.
You can go and spend 2 weeks in one valley, and the elk will not be in there. Then you go to the valley next door, and you'll see three bulls and 45 cows or something like that. Like, I've experienced that multiple times, and I have the same mentality for sheep hunting. Like, I think it's not super positive to always think that you're missing stuff with optics and stuff and glassing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, trust that you know what a sheep looks like, trust that you know what stuff looks like, and if they're not there, they're not there. And you can either sit there and look really hard, or you can cover more terrain. It's like, it's all kind of like what you're capable of doing.
You've got to,
it sucks.
You've got to do the area justice. Like, you can't just like bomb through at 100 miles an hour and be like, nope, nothing here. You've got to go up. You've got to look on the back.
Exactly.
You've got to climb around this. You've got to go up the whole end of the valley. You've got to do, all
do
the
it justice, man.
You've inspected the area. You've done your draw. You've gone your ridge lines. Yeah. Don't just be like, I'm sure we missed them, and like go back to the start, right? I'm sure something will just walk in, and like, I don't know if I heard this somewhere, just made it up at some point, but like, I feel like that's the difference between hoping and hunting. Like, I'd rather hunt, in my opinion, than just sit there and be like, yeah, it looks good here. They're not there, man. Like, do something about it.
It's so true. So that was a good, man. And I think that's also a testament to like I said, of having like a plan F and being like, okay, we're exercising everything that we have done. We've done the work. We've done everything. We have everything mapped out, all of our pins, everything's chucked on Onyx. Like, let's go and freaking do it. And like, exactly to your point, hey, we're hitting the ground hard. We're checking off all those boxes, but at the same time, being confident in that decision to say, hey, let's move on to the next zone. And like I said, that last zone too, also, hey, that's a huge positive, is we found a new zone, or had a new zone, obviously, on our head, never had feet on the ground there. And hey, we're getting into bulls every day. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, now if we get our timing right or figure out those little things a little bit better, maybe, like, obviously I think everyone from that trip is like, okay, we're starting that trip next year in zone F, and we would have never gone to zone F if we didn't know that, right? So so I think that was a huge positive from the trip. Like I said, just hanging out with everyone, camaraderie, the whole nines that comes with those big missions, and spending 2 weeks in the bush with some fellas. Nice. And also too, man, I think having a good crew like that is crucial. Like, especially when you're portaging, and frick, dude, I didn't even get to this, but like night 3, after we got this, obviously stoked on getting this moose down, we like go, windstorm's going up, the tent's freaking picking up in the middle of the night. No one's like getting any sleep. And then because we're portaging, we're like, well, let's just let's crock it up and just like hike all day in the water, so everyone's toes are numb. Like the vibes could be very low at that point, you know. Justin's like, yeah, I've got frostbite on my left foot before, and these are all the same feelings that I've gotten before, so what are we doing now? So it's like all of those things. But dude, we didn't have a single person that complained once. Everyone was still like having that good time vibes, like doing whatever, talking about the beers at the truck or anything like that. Like, keeping anything to kind of keep the stoke high. And I think that was a huge one. So yeah, man, that was kind of the draw on the moose elk float. Learned a crap ton, got some good knowledge, and hey, we did come home with a moose, so happy with that. Totally. But like I said, the elk front, next year's our year for sure. So
man, when you inflate a Stikine pack raft, and this isn't like a knock at them or anything, because we floated a caribou down with it this year, and you're dragging it. It's so super low water. I think I was talking about last week, like super low water, dragging this thing. Like, the first time, I've only ever used alpaca.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm used to what that material is. And then the Stikine one that we had I'm like, dude, this thing feels cheap. Like, this thing feels like the Explorer 250 from Can Tire. Like, and I'm just like a little bit nervous, because I was on a trip where we did put a hole in an alpaca raft, dragging it with like 2 moose in the thing along some sharp rocks. So I mean, whatever, we asked for it. But yeah, I was like, man, I don't. And then, you use it and you're like dumping it along the rocks and like whatever, and tired of like taking all the meat out and all the shit. And you're just like, dude, this is sweet. Like, this thing's pretty good. Like, you start to build more confidence, probably too much. And then, I'm sure it'll bite me at some point. But yeah, I was super impressed with those guys.
Dude, we were too, man. Like, to be honest, I had the same first impressions, because I've spent time, like, just like, I know a lot of, not in a hunting situation, but I know a lot of dudes that like run like alpaca course and all this crap, like locally here in Chilliwack. So spent some time with those, and I had the same first impression. But dude, the amount of crap that we pulled these things over, and with like, a couple 100 pounds of weight or all of this different stuff, and like no water, it was we were really impressed. Like, I genuinely thought that we were going to have to exercise that patch kit about 75 freaking times, and we didn't have to pull it out once. That being said, I think they could improve a lot on the design for hunters. I think, like, specifically, like we need grab handles, stuff like that. Like, we're like grabbing like our paracord, like making little handles and stuff like this. Like, all of these little pieces I think could like be really beneficial, and better tie down points, especially when you do have a quarter or something in there in the front of it or in the back or something like that. Like, it would be nice to have like a couple more like tie down points or something, just like secure that quarter in the front. I don't know. Those are just some, but I think
agree.
the grab handles would be a massive one for sure.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's like when you read like a pack rafting book, like a little, like when guys, I've never been like this, and I don't know, it's just not an interest for me. But when like if you've ever been four-wheeling with maybe a new buddy and they're like, "Hey, you want to go four-wheeling?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure." You go and they got like a cool four-wheeler, and then they just purposely get stuck, and then you spend the whole day like winching yourself out, and like that's the enjoyment. Like I don't find that enjoyment at all. I'm like, why are we getting stuck all the time? Like this is silly. But that's a big thing for people. That's what they like to do, and I'm like, that's cool. And I think with pack rafting, I get a little bit of the vibe, and I can catch flack for this for sure if it's not right. They like to be able to tie their own shit the way they want to tie it. So like I think you'd have more people like that's not where the grab handle should be. I don't need that. I tie my own perfect knot that cinches it this way. Like I feel like there's some finicky stuff. But yeah, like some webbing loops for handles is like super important. Like sling it around 100%, man.
Yeah, and honestly, man, to those people, like, screw them. Like, to be honest, I couldn't care less about your thoughts about those things. I think that grab handles would have been really freaking helpful at that point, and I don't give a rip about you wanting to, like, do your own thing and do whatever.
Do your dots.
It sucks without it. So I'm just telling you straight up, those would be really freaking helpful. So, hey, if you want, cut them off of your own raft and go and, like, tie them on wherever. So you do your thing.
Like just optional. Like you just have optional handles, man. Like, it for sure.
Yeah, I'm also out on the self-bailing part for sure too. I'm like, let's just get the clear bottom right on those things. So a lot of those alpaca rafts have those clear bottoms too. So I'm like,
I've only ever been in self-bailing alpaca rafts.
Really? Yeah. I know some buddies that don't have the self-bailing ones that are sweet. Because like I said, our thought originally was like, okay, we're just gonna tuck tape, like double side tuck tape. Which actually, like, for some of the rafts worked for like 2 days straight. So like you were like dry for like 2 days, and that's with all that portaging and whatever. But at some point, like, you have tuck tape and you're running it over like not even water at some points, like it's gonna rip off, right? So
I was just at the last hunt to the last moose of the season up in Iron North. Gabbett came up to shoot. Connor Gabbett came up to shoot. To shoot some film for one of his clients, and he had his like that Sitka float hunt film launch at the same time. So it was super fun getting to kind of BS with Connor a little bit about that, hear the backstory, hear a little bit about the back end of that hunt, because that was obviously pretty gnarly, super late season.
Yeah.
But that's what we were kind of chatting a lot about, right? Was the like, self-bailing, do you go full-size raft, do you not go full-size raft, like because they're on like a couple big rafts and they had some pretty massive portages with like thousands of pounds of gear, and I mean, you're not carrying that, you're like, it took every guy carrying it like this,
to get it over
to like walk around all like, they had like the river ice up, like that's how late it was. They had the river ice up like one day or what. I mean, it's in the film, like whatever. I think it's a fantastic film too. But yeah, they were pretty high on it. And then we were talking, difference of like what kind of like paddles. Like I think Connor was running maybe the oars, or one of his buddies was running the oars, and then another guy was running like the normal. They were like, this is no bueno when you're running a normal oar setup and like any sort of like fast water tight, because you're like, dun, 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 But yeah, I think I would like to do like a more of what I maybe not proper, but like a proper raft hunt where you're like a couple guys, you're out of the water.
Yeah.
You're still getting wet, but like you're not just like put your because you can't really run backpacks at that point. You're like running duffels, and then your backpack's in a duffel. Otherwise your shit is soaked, as you guys probably experienced.
Well, we just chucked everything in our like we all had, I think everyone except for one was all running Kafaru bags on that, and we just chucked everything in like dry bags that was important, and then obviously in the tubes of the rafts everything stayed dry. So that being said, obviously weather was a different beast. I didn't even talk about that, but we got rained on pretty hard. All those different things too that come into play too, that I think when you're soaked, you're just freaking soaked. So
dude, were you I think you run First Light quite a bit, right? So like, were you in First Light rain gear?
Yeah, we were.
Nice.
So
I mean, obviously I know you guys run them and do work for them and stuff. How do you feel like that stuff performed?
Yeah, we were pretty impressed in some ways. We also had some prototype First Light rain gear on too. And to be honest, it held up. Like, I'm just always a guy that I like the thick stuff. Like, I run what's called like the Omen, like the thick stuff, like stuff that like,
well, it's the only stuff that really works.
That's kind of the thing, man. Everyone's always like packable, all of this crap. And I'm like, dude, I just don't want to rip anything. Like, that's my goal, is like, I don't want to rip anything. I think when it comes to rain gear, nothing beats like the PVC stuff. Like, everything is gonna like get wet at some point.
Yeah. But if you're sheep hunting and hiking in it, or mountain hunting or mountain whatever, hiking in it,
you can't hike in the PVC. It's just it's the way it is, right? So I've never had an issue. Like, I've been running that Omen storm shelter kit from First Light for like ever since it came out. So what's that, like 4 years now? And I've been really impressed. I rip everything. I'm really hard on that crap. And I've ripped other First Light products and things like that. But those, like that Omen stuff, it is heavy, it's thick, and a lot of people knock on it for that. But I've never ripped it. I've never had a problem with it. The only thing with it that I would like to see is I want traditional pit zips, like on the jacket specifically.
What does it have?
So it has zips like here and then here, which, to be honest, is really nice for fishing. Yeah, but that's what I need for hunting. Is like, I need that full pit zip, dump everything out. And I'm just a guy that runs hot. So but yeah, man, like,
you're a big dude working hard, so it's
exactly. So I was impressed with it. Like I said, it's just kind of been like the system that I've ran. I used to run a Sitka kit, like the Dew Point stuff that I don't know is like, I don't know too much about Sitka. But
that's I mean, I've had that for the last couple of years for my like packable rain gear. When I'm being a weight weenie. And I mean, like out the gate, I was super impressed with it for like a couple years, and then it failed, like most rain gear does, I think, after a couple years of being scrunched up in a ball and opened up, scrunched up and opened, like whatever.
Exactly.
So I bought new Kuyu Chugach stuff this year, and I should have just bought Yukon, but I also have like Helly Hansen, like PVC rain gear, and then I have a zipper installed on the side.
Yeah, you're saying that last week.
Yeah, that's right. I was saying,
yeah. When he did the wrong, we don't talk about that one. Make sure you get those letters right.
I mean, that stuff failed instantly. So I'm always curious, right? Like, it's just never worth it to buy the thin stuff if you want to stay dry.
I know. That's kind of the truth, man. It's like, it really isn't. Like I said, the one thing that I run into an issue with is that I run hot. So then I'm like, either like, okay, am I going to be sweating now? So then I'm going to be wet from my own self as opposed from the elements. But then at the same time too, it's also really nice just having like a windbreaker and all that crap too, that kind of comes into it, and know that things aren't penetrating. So like I said, to be honest, I truthfully can say I've been really impressed with the Omen gear from First Light. I was running a new rain pant this trip. I don't remember the model name of it, but those were great too. So we only had
like thickness gauge, or was it lighter?
No, they were more packable. Packable. So but like, we were both really, and Jordan as well, like, he kept raving, but he's like, dude, like, just a couple of the days in like plan D or whatever, it was like so freaking wet, just downpour all day, and we're bashing bush the whole thing. And it's like, and then at the end of the day, or like 3/4 through the day, Jordan's like, there's no way I'm wet, pulls his pants on, and he's freaking dry on his pants underneath. And I'm like, dude, that never happens. Like, like anything, it doesn't matter what you're going in those elements, like it can be the top of the line, whatever the frick, it's like, you're gonna be wet in those situations. And we were really impressed by those pants. So we did have one rip, and that was Justin, but he did get them caught on barbed wire, so I think that's his fault.
So Justin's hopping fences into the private zone and trying to get that done. That's what I'm hearing. Oh, classic.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. We were seeing elk every single day. We were on bulls every day. Nobody was there either.
Nobody was there except for the farmer.
Every day. God, we were all sprinting. Yeah, it was great. This rain gear. Yeah. What kind of boots were you running? I was running Nike Airs, bro.
Yeah. You ever try those Air Max 90s, dude? They're freaking sick. Ultra light. No. So he did. There was one thing that he, like I said, he got caught on, and that's hey. But I think that comes with the territory. If you're in there and then he pops something, then there you go. So yeah,
Nice.
man. I got Reece set up with that rain gear too. So I'm interested to hear his
I
unbiased opinion.
I used it the other day up in about 20 centimeters of snow, and we had like 20 centimeters of snow, and it was raining on me. So it was a pretty good test there. But yeah, like I was surprised that they're almost like a full, like a ski shell pant kind of deal. Like they're basically a shell pant. Same as the jacket is like a shell. So like definitely heavy, definitely tough. In my opinion, great for really wet areas, but not reasonable for taking in on like a sheep hunt. Like the pants, definitely not reasonable for taking in with like a sheep hunt. Like I'm saying, like just both weight and the amount of space that they take up for sure. Like they're huge. Like that being said, it could work if you're planning on wearing them a lot. But if you're going to wear it for like one rain deal for 2 weeks, it ain't worth it. But like, but that depends. Like if you're going to hunt region 6 for sheep, I'd probably bring them for sure.
Yeah.
If you're hunting region 7, you're probably better off going and, like I've have another pair of rain pants I've had for years that I bought for, I think $60, and I use them 2 or 3 times a year just for like that one time that I have to, I have gaiters on my normal hunting pants, and I put the rain pants on top when I have to go through brush or something. But they're, they go down to like this big. They're tiny. I have to be kind of careful with them when I use them, but they're a lot more reasonable. But the gear is great, like, and also for for like day hunting style stuff. But if you're doing some of that bigger sheep hunts, they're definitely too much, because it's like wearing, like, they're the same size as your skiing shell pants.
Yeah. Not a lot of packability.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Kuiu Yukon gear?
No.
No, hey? What about you, Nolan? Not so much?
I know a little bit about I know a little bit about it. I've never personally ran it. But I've heard a lot of good things about the Kuiu materials. That's what everyone kind of always raves about.
It's their thickest. It's going to be kind of like the Omen for sure.
Okay.
It's just thick. It's like a thick, burly 3-layer Gore-Tex style pants. So cool. I was just curious if you guys, if it was similar or not. But when I bump into you next, Nolan, I'm sure I'll get a little look at it.
Yeah, definitely, man. So to be honest,
I'm definitely excited to be using that rain gear this weekend. Like, happy I have it. It'll get used for sure. And I think it's worthwhile to have, like, I think if you want to go for serious rain gear, you might as well go for the thick stuff. And like, if I was going in on like a region 6 sheep hunt, I'd probably arrange my pack to be wearing that rain gear more often than less, kind of deal, or at least the pants. But yeah, like, just like, it would be too much for like a 2-week sheep hunt that you might have 2 days worth of rain in like August or September.
Yeah,
like
it's hard to justify when like the pants are £1.
Yeah,
like that's the same, right? But like sometimes I'm like, I think it's more that I just get pissed off that, like, even with like a good guide discount and stuff, it's still like, you're like, well, it just dropped another $600 on rain gear and it didn't last 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Like,
it's brutal. And then you're like going
really
out,
is.
maybe talking to someone else that's going to spend $1,000 on it. And like, I think if you spend $1,000 on some rain gear, I think you do expect it to last like years and years. Like my Arc'teryx, like beta AR jacket is like 275 eons old, and it's still like, it's banger, man. Like, I should just wear it. It's just kind of it's just really noisy more than anything. Like, it's just
exactly
when you're walking. Otherwise, you got to kind of walk with your arms out by your ears. So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to justify. And I think I just get like a little bit bent out of shape about it, because it's like I don't know about you guys. I'm sure guys ask you about like newer hunters and stuff, ask you about
Mhm.
what gear you use. And especially, you know, I find even more, the more I guide a little bit, guys are like, hey, what kind of gear and whatever. And I'm like, kind of like
Exactly.
pouty about it.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
like
man.
before I got that rain gear that you have, like basically what I did is I looked into online just basically what the most, just kind of compared like best rain gear with affordability, and I ended up getting just Columbia black pants,
Hmm.
and they were really good, or they are really good. I still use them, but I think they were $60, and you know, if you're only going to use them once or twice on your sheep hunt,
Yeah.
100% the right decision for sure. Like if you tear up the bottoms, who cares? And then I also got, they're a little shorter, so when I'm wearing my gaiters, they're probably 4 inches up from the bottom of my gaiters. I'm not catching them on rocks. They're not getting all tore up on the bottoms, so they're kind of almost like a 7/8 pant.
Hmm.
And I think that works really well, and I think it keeps them from getting all tore up and stuff. But yeah, like like you said, it's tough to spend that kind of money unless you're doing those really wet hunts for either like October moose where you're 2 degrees and raining, or 1 degree
Like then
heating.
you could easily be in rubber gear, like because you're probably not hiking a ton. And also, like frick, there's not a big, who cares if you get wet? Like,
Yeah.
like the amount of times I just hike in a
It's true.
t-shirt, get soaked, peel my t-shirt off, and then throw on like a nice warm layer and whatever, and you're instantly warm, versus like, well, I'm hiking in my unbreathable rain gear and I'm fucking soaked. And now like anyways, I don't know. Like I think people worry about getting wet. Like I hate getting my boots wet. That's like I will go to great lengths.
Keep those toes dry.
Dry. But like, I think it's like, who cares, like you generate so much heat, and you just throw on, you've got all this cool puffy gear and other layers, throw it on. And like, I always run a synthetic sleeping bag. So like, I always can dry shit out in my sleeping bag at night.
Mhm.
Like you learn that stuff,
true.
and the rain gear starts to matter a little less, and you can save a couple bucks and spend it on glass or whatever else, or more trips or whatever. That's more
Yeah, I
important.
think it just goes across the board, man. Like even back to like the jackets and stuff, dude. Like I've ripped like 3 or 4 Arc'teryx jackets, and I just like have been out on those guys. Like it's just like I feel like every piece of gear that I've had, and like same, like I'm talking like non-hunting brands, Patagonia, Arc'teryx, all this stuff. It's like I just have somehow gone through their gear, and I think that's why I'm like at the mindset where I understand stuff is heavier, but I don't really give 2 rips about it. I'm just gonna like maybe work out a little bit more before I get out in the hunt, or get a little bit of a bigger bag, because I know that I can trust like a certain jacket.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like I said, I've never tried the QE stuff, but it sounds like it's a similar story. For me, it's like that Omen stuff from First Light, where I'm like, I know that I can trust it. I've spent years in this stuff going against it. And like I said, I've never been able to rip it or destroy it. And for me, I'm like, hey, that's worth the extra weight to know that, right? So
I agree.
yeah, one of those things for sure.
Yeah, nice, boys. Nice. Frick. Nolan, what else you got planned here coming up?
Oh, what I got planned? Well, heading out this next week, gonna head out for some muleys. So go chase some muleys. Do
Filming
that.
or like filming
just
work?
more of like a fun thing, man. Like
Yeah.
I just really want to get into a nice buck this year. I think that's like something that like I haven't really prioritized the last bunch of years. So that's kind of a goal. That being said, we're only going out for like 3-4 days. But still should be fun. Get up a little higher, try to do some of that different stuff too.
Cool.
So it should be a blast. And it's my first, man, it's going to be my first rifle hunt in years. Like, I'm like, I can't remember the last time I took the rifle out for a walk. So I'm kind of excited about that, to be honest, where I'm like, I don't know, like for a while I like would be like, okay, looking at both. Yeah, I'll just take the bow out, or I'll be like, I'm going out this weekend with the rifle. And I'm like, oh shoot, no. So, but this is like the first time in years where I'm like, I'm really looking forward to taking the freaking rifle out for a little John. So,
well, it's because you're just coming off a hunt that like you could have killed an elk, most likely, if you had a gun.
I don't know. I'd beg to differ on that.
Buddy,
but yeah.
338 blasts through almost any brush.
Oh my gosh.
Hammer the thing. and then start blasting.
Yeah, but still, like I said, we just couldn't get them in there. So, hey, I'm not dying on that
60
one. All I'm
yards,
saying,
60 yards through the brush. I'm telling everyone to start sending lead.
Especially when you got to count tines, that goes real well.
Nolan, I got 2 questions though about that hunt there. So first one was a quick one. So you guys were it was a bow hunt. But were you guys packing a rifle?
We had one rifle packed, mostly I would say for grizzly protection and for like a plan B type of thing. If it was up to me though, man, I didn't want a freaking rifle on that trip. I'm just going to be honest. I was like trying so hard, but there was a couple strong voices in the group that were like, if there's a freaking stonker bull that comes across, like, and we're not getting an archery shot on it, like we're freaking, cause it was an archery zones, or sorry, it was a rifle zone. So they're like, we're shooting that thing with the rifle. And the filmmaker side of me is like, yeah, but that's just not going to fly. So obviously we were able to obviously take that moose with the bow, which we were pretty fired up on, and stuff like that too. But there was a rifle packed, like I said, but it was mostly for grizzly protection and a plan B if we had a wall hanger that was sprinting away from us.
You gotta be diligent, man. Like to keep a gun hunt, keep a bow hunt when there's a gun around. Like, especially if you're looking at like a mid 300s bull and it's just through the brush, the tines, all the things. You're like, 88 yards away. You're like, it's not an archery shot. You're like, hand me that thing. But like, I think for one thing, for bear protection, it's these days it's pretty ignorant to not have one.
100%.
Whether that's just like a shotgun with slugs or a mare's leg or whatever, right? 45-70,
Exactly.
like that's what I carry guiding.
Yeah.
You have some guy who has a handgun on the trip, whatever.
It's true. So, and we did actually have a little shorty shotgun too. Same type of thing, just because we were in the 2 groups that we just had some sort of protection, obviously, with each group. So yeah, there was firearms on the trip.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering because I'm like, I know you're a big bow guy, and I also like when I am not afraid of grizzlies. Like I'll go and hunt some pretty, grizzly terrain by myself and stuff like that. But I would never hunt in grizzly country with a bow without a rifle.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think maybe that's like something that I'm realizing more and more, and maybe it's also something where it's like I got the kiddo now and stuff like that you really think about those things. But like there was like our moose hunt last year, like I don't really think we carried it, and that was naive of us. Like I'm not condoning that by any means, and I think especially now I'm like, okay, how do I get like a little shotgun just specifically for those reasonings? But I'm not gonna lie. Last year, like I don't think we had anything with us, and we were archery hunting too. So
I think the shotgun is the perfect move too, especially to like cover that issue of maybe we should just shoot it with the rifle, but like not gonna happen, right? And they're also pretty light to pack around too, like you can get some really cool ones like for your drift hunt. I know I'm not sure if it's Remington or somebody, they make basically a nautical like defense shotgun that's half for like putting in the jet boat, half for keeping on like the fishing boat for back in the day when they'd like shoot the halibut that were 260 pounds and stuff like that. It's stainless steel and it actually comes in a orange floatable case that screws on both ends.
Wow.
Dope.
Yeah. So maybe that's the problem, man. Like, I just think that the shotguns that we've been carrying are like the worst things ever. And they're so freaking heavy and they're clunky and they're just like the whole nines. And you're like, man, I just don't think maybe I just got to get into a good one. And then I'll be like, dude, I'm never leaving the truck without it. Cause I do think exactly what you're saying. Like even like in different zones too, man, like where maybe like the chances of grizzlies are not as high as some of the other zones that we hunt. And it's like, it's not the worst thing to carry with you and not the worst thing to get in that. I'm like a big habit person. So I'm like, it's not the worst thing in the world to just get in the habit of always having on your back. Right. So, but yeah.
And then the second question was, so for, what kind of a mentality did you guys have when it came to calling those bulls and stuff like that? Like what Like, what kind of strategies were you guys doing? And then based on the results you were getting, do you think you would make some changes going into this, like, next year?
Man, we threw the frickin' book at these suckers, man. Like, and that was really cool about hunting with Jordan, is that that dude is so frickin' knowledgeable, like just into the behaviors, all of this different stuff, and being like, oh, the elk sounded this way, which means that he's doing this. And then, like, as a result of that, we're just like not gonna call, or we're gonna like try to do something, or all of these different things. So honestly, man, like we tried so many different tactics, even down from the point of like, and this is what really worked out really well with us when we had our dual bull day like 2 years ago, elk hunting, and where it got to the point where it was like, hey, if they're running away from you, drop everything, sprint after these things, and just do whatever you can to cut the distance. Like, don't give a rip about noise. Don't give a rip about any of these other things. Like, obviously be mindful of it. Like, don't be chit-chatting, but like sprint after these things, do whatever you can to cut the distance, and pretty much force them to turn. So we tried that. And like I said, that tactic worked really good because it's not like, or a couple of years ago when we had those dual bull day, it was the same kind of story where we did have one that kept like pushing off and bugling and then pushing off and bugling. So that's what we ended up having to do was the full on sprint, and forcing him to turn. But man, we felt like we tried everything under the kitchen sink on these ones. And like I said, even trying to not call, just wait until find out where they're bedded, get right into their bedding zone, and just try to spark them up that way, or do anything. And honestly, man, I don't know. The one thing that we kept coming back to, and maybe this is a really bad excuse, was just like we just felt like our timing was off. Like we were like, okay, like a lot of these guys like are cowed up already. They've done their fighting, they've done all of that different stuff, right? And they're like, do I really want to like get into that? And it kind of felt like the one thing that they were doing was just calling essentially just to keep their cows happy, so that these chicks weren't like, oh dude, that guy's like that guy sounds way better than you, I'm gonna head on out there. And that's kind of what it felt like. It was like, okay, they're just calling to like keep their girls happy, to tell them that they're still kind of the big boy, but then at the same time rounding them up and being like, let's go to the next kind of mountainside type of thing. So maybe that's a naive way to think of it. I'm not going to come on here and say that I know everything about elk, because I clearly don't. But we like, and maybe we'll keep researching, and maybe some people need to drop us a comment if they have other tactics or something that can get those elk to turn when we can't, right? But like I said, we felt like we were trying everything under the sun, all these different calling things, all of these different setups. Even at one point we joined up with the other group and was like trying to pull them across and do the whole thing, trying to like flank them from the other side type of thing. And at that point too, like I said, hunting in two groups of 3 on one bull, trying to do the whole thing, even to walking through the woods, calling one group to another group, trying to like act as if there's 2 bulls kind of going through, and try to like essentially center the bull that you know was there and try to get them on both ends type of thing. So we tried a lot of different tactics because, like I said, we did have those opportunities to get into bulls, but just couldn't get those things to go. So
one of the boys down here too, who is a super successful elk hunter with the bow, he puts the calls away a lot of the time when it's going like that, and he just spot and stalks and just, locates middle of the night. And then, knows the terrain like the back of his hand too. So usually just tries to get in there real close and then make some moves like sans call. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's sometimes that's just the best way to do it. If they're just tuckered out, then and you're in that in-between phase, right? Because then I'm sure there'll be a second rut that kicks in after.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're in the in-between phase. That's always a bit of a bummer.
And that's kind of how we felt, man. Like we really felt like we were right in that kind of like that lull period, right? Where we're like, frick, like maybe a week earlier. And you can always say these things too, right? We really don't know. We really don't know, but we can talk about them. And that's where we're
100%.
like, oh, maybe like our mindset very much was like, hey, maybe a week earlier, maybe a week later. But like I said, we take that trip for a huge positive where we're like, okay, we did the float thing. We learned a crap ton. We tried out a bunch of new different zones that we would have never tried out before. And we feel like we found a good zone that we're going to, like I said, like try to like hit pretty hard, like first thing next year, and really try to like work around the rut too. So and we came home with the moose too, so that's also a huge success. So there you go.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
you did the float thing. You portaged really well.
Yeah, we portaged. Like I said, we got into some good floating sections, but then the elk weren't there. So
With
there you
that
go.
barbed wire comment, I think you were just floating a slough between a couple of fields, to be honest, up in fucking Williams.
Hey, that's good. That's how you kill stuff, man. That's how you kill stuff. I've been there.
Hey, I can honestly say it was there was no private line or anything like that.
Of course.
Every once in a while you just get there's some barbed wire right by the truck, and that's just the truth. So
that's just the way she rolls.
Yeah, I wish I could say that Justin was way out there and we did whatever when he cut his pants, but it was literally like 10 yards from the truck. And he just like backed up into some barbed wire and cuts this thing.
That's
and
why
you're like,
you can't give Grizz nice things, man.
Exactly.
He just wrecks them.
Well, I think that's the thing too. It's just kind of the truth, man. It's just kind of the truth.
Oh, it's awesome, man.
Boys. Then other than that, just got a blacktail hunt coming up here that I'm really looking forward to. I don't know if you guys have ever hunted like islands or anything like that, but they're a blast, man. Kind of similar thing where you're not expecting to get into the biggest bucks by any means. But there's just like
lots
you
of them.
typically get a lot of stalking opportunities. This is kind of a cool story that maybe we can finish her off on. But my one buddy, dude, so we came out with this film Subsistence a couple years ago, and I had my buddy and his wife come on out to the film premiere. And let me just phrase this, or not phrase this, but they were vegans when they showed up at this film premiere.
That's right.
And they were doing this whole thing. And long story short, watched the film, did their whole thing, like realized that like, hey, like we want to eat good food. And obviously our thoughts around food and all of this stuff was, they felt was skewed previously. And then they got educated on it and it was like, hey, like we really actually like what hunting and fishing and all this stuff is about. So they ended up going hard on the fishing stuff. And man, that guy just cleans up on freaking salmon now. But long story short, man, he just got his hunting license. So the whole island blacktail trip, the whole goal is to get that guy on his first buck. So that's the goal. So I'm really looking forward to that one of just, man, I hope that we can make something happen there, because it would be really awesome to just see that dude just spark up, man, and just like knowing that whole story and be like, man, like you guys were freaking vegans
Great
like
arc
4 or 5 years ago, and now to the point where you're like pretty much making this trip happen, doing everything like that. And yeah, it's an island buck, like I said, they're not very big or anything like that, but it's a first harvest, right? So we're hoping and the trip will be a huge success, even if we get a stock or something, and even if he blows it or something, it's like, hey, he still gets those opportunities. So that's another one that we're looking forward to after. So that's like 2 weeks from now, so that'll be a blast.
Well, all you have to do is give them this feeling. As soon as they feel like, as soon as you make the decision, like, ooh, that's a deer.
Yeah.
And the intention from now to here, now to that year, is to try and kill it. And they get that feeling in their veins. They either got it or they don't. And and it's the hook's either set or it's going to pass them by. So you don't have to do anything at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
That's so true, Reece. It's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it,
boys.
Sweet,
well,
boys.
Fellas. This has been a blast. Yeah, let's do her. So looking forward to next week. And hey, thanks again for chatting, boys. I love this, man. I love chatting with you fellas and hearing how things are going. And it feels good once again to have all 3 fellas on the screen. That's a blast.
The squad is back. We're recording this on Halloween, and I don't know when it's going to release, but let's go Blue Jays.
Let's go Blue Jays.
Yes. All right, Reece. Hey, maybe send us a picture this afternoon when you get a little bit of blood on that hunting gear there. So
we'll do,
dude. That's high hopes, Matt. Jeez, Reece is
going to be elbow deep in moose.
I love it, fellas. All right, chat next week. Have a good one.
All right, have a good one.